Okay, let's start. Abhishek, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Am
Okay.
I?
Yeah, you are. So, hi everyone, this is Ritik Harchani. I am currently interning at Grofers, and along with me, I have Manthan, who is interning at Razorpay, Abhishek, who is interning at Goldman Sachs, and also a YouTuber Pratik Mishra, who is interning at Walmart. Now, this is the first time Geek Heaven is taking a resume building workshop. The reason is just like for most of us, our first relationship sucks, our first resume also sucks. And during this session, we will point out some tips and common mistakes you can avoid so as to build a better resume. I would like to give a disclaimer like we all are final year students, and all the information we provide you today will be either from book, an article, or from personal experience. And it's up to you whether you have to follow this or you have to follow something else. Okay, next. So let's talk, why is it even important? Like, does it even matter how you put the details in your resume? Well, it does. According to the study by the Ladders in 2012, the average time a recruiter takes to go through any resume was 6 seconds. Then again in 2018, this time was increased to 7.4. So on an average, you can estimate that the recruiter will take around 6 to 10 seconds to skim through the important details on your resume, and therefore you have to present the details very well. Okay, Abhishek, you would like to add something?
Okay, so something to keep in mind while considering this is how you style your means document also matters. How you emphasize the important points. You can have a bold font or a bigger font size for something that you want to highlight, so that in the first glance itself it catches the eye, right? So think from the mind of a recruiter who is busy. So he'll just look at the paper and try to get as many points as possible. So you should style it in a way that emphasizes your main point. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the important details should be in bold and they should be clearly visible. Okay. Next. So let's talk about what does the IT companies look for while recruiting software engineers. Okay. So basically, they look for people who are smart and who can code. And if we talk about qualitatively, these are the skills they look for, as you can see. Analytical skill, that is the problem solving skill, which is how well you analyze the details in the question and how well you are thinking. Therefore, in order to let the recruiter assess you on your analytical skills, you should think out loud while solving any problem. And it is highly recommended that you tell the recruiter all the steps you are going through and how you are approaching the problem. Also, it's highly recommended that you discuss the trade-offs with the recruiter. Okay, trade-offs are very important. It's like if you are playing poker, then trade-offs are on very high priority, just like triple A's. So you can discuss trade-offs not just in the technology why you are using A over B, but you can also discuss the trade-offs while using data structures. Like if you are using an ordered map, then you can discuss the trade-off between ordered and unordered and why you are using so. Next, over to coding skills. Okay, so coding skills basically shows how well you write code. So this will include variable naming, method naming, and sometimes code indentation also. But usually, you have not been provided an ID in the technical round. So they give you basically a Google Doc, maybe shares a link of some real-time editor where you can write the code. So in that case, you can skip the indentation part. But for your projects, you should maintain a neat and indentable code. Okay. Also, if someone is reading your code, they can understand the logic behind it. So that comes in the coding skill. Next is technical skills. How well you are aware of the subjects, the knowledge part basically. Okay, the fundamentals of computer science. So make sure that you are very well aware of your DBMS, OS, and computer networks concepts. Then next comes communication skills. So how well do you communicate with the recruiter? As in last workshop, Pratik has taken. Pratik might have told you the difference between startups and MNCs. Okay, so basically they have a slight difference, and therefore startups look more for a cultural fit or communication skills. As these new hires will be later on be acting as a lead manager or a team leader, so therefore they want the person should speak the language of the company and fits into the culture. Also, I would like to suggest you, like, you can talk with your friend in English for next few months, because that will the practice will make you better in speaking English. Last thing is experience. Okay, so experience is not just work experience, but also your experience with the language and technologies you have mentioned on your resume. How well do you understand the project that you have worked on, and what else you might have done, or what else you might have done differently if you have been given more time or another chance to work on the same project. So I have a personal experience where I explained some additional work on my GSOC project, where which was liked by the recruiter. Okay, the interviewer. Sorry. Next.
1 minute, like I just realized that this PPT is not completely in sync with resume building. It's something of a coding interview part, right?
Yeah.
Showing analytics skills. So don't get confused. It's just a tip on how you should appear on coding. We'll
Yes.
come back to
Basically,
it,
what the companies look for. Yeah, telling.
and you can have a reflection of these skills on your resume as well. How well the resume reflects on these skills. We'll come to individual parts in the coming slides, so don't worry, right? And if anybody has any language barrier, like they want to talk us in Hindi or something, explain some point in Hindi, then comment and Pratik will let us know. Okay.
Okay. Now, what all to include in your resume? Okay, so basically you can include these sections on your resume. As you can see, we will go through each one by one. Then we start with general details. So in general details, you must include your name, email, and phone number. These are something which you have to, for sure. And then do not include full address. Why? Because there's no need, like company won't be sending you anything, so there's no need of full address. You can write your city name. Then if you have a portfolio website, then you can include that. If you are a developer and you have some projects on your GitHub, then do include your GitHub username. If you have written some blogs, then include Medium also. Now, if we talk about the coding web platforms, whether it's CodeChef or Codeforces, so it totally depends on you whether you want to include CodeChef or Codeforces ratings or not. So that's up to you. Then comes the education. Okay, so include your college name. You can say the degree, the branch, and also include your GPA, because sometimes some companies do have a GPA criteria. So it's better if you can include on your resume. So when we say ki we usually it's up to you. So these are the things which basically recruiter won't be searching on your resume. If it's there, it's well and good. If it's not, then it's okay. So you can decide whether you want to keep it or not. Next is technical skills, work experience, and projects. We will talk about them in depth in the next section slides. We have a responsibility and community work. Now, this is not mandatory or must have, but if you have something to show, then do include in your resume, because that shows a leadership or interest and enthusiasm in technology. Or even if you are just participating in some societies or other work, you can include that. Also, if you write blogs, you can include the blogs there. So lastly is it is awards and accomplishments. So you can include hackathon projects, hackathon prizes you have won, or any kind of accomplishments, whether it's related to tech or somewhat related to tech, you can include. By the way, if you are including these sections, I would recommend ki it should be somewhat related to tech, because it doesn't matter if you are including cooking or some other hobbies in your resume, because it doesn't matter ki whether you lift 100 or 10 kgs in deadlift, if you're writing weightlifting, or if you are cooking something great. So these are not necessary if you write. Also, you can include 11th, the intermediate 10th and 12th marks if you want to. If they are good, if you want to show to the recruiter, you can include. If not, it's okay. Also, the important thing is ki don't make your resume colored. Why? Because many of the MNCs have these OCR bots which scan the resume for keywords and sections. So if you put color on your resume, that will make it difficult for the bots to scan. If you are a designer, you can include colors, but if you are not, it's not recommended. So we would give you some examples or templates on Overleaf where you can build your resume, and we recommend you to build on latex only and not to use some other fancy resume sites. Okay. Anything to include, Abhishek?
Just that the coding part, the code forces, like it was said that it was not compulsory to include, or maybe you shouldn't. But something is that if you have a better profile, you should of course include, and you can emphasize that on in the interview section. But if you don't have a better profile, then just don't include it. It doesn't, like, the recruiters don't actively look for it. If you show it to them, it's fine, right? So
If you ask for a criteria, I would say if the Codeforces is greater than 1300 ratings, you can include. You can think of including. And in Codeforces, if you have in CodeChef, if you have more than 3 stars or 4 stars or 5 stars, then do include it. Okay.
also, there are companies that look into it, like Google looks for information regarding its own competitions like Kickstart and
Which
other.
is Google Kickstart, right?
Yeah. So that is that like that those companies should be dealt with like in specific manner. Okay. So in Google, you should mention the Google specific competition. And in general, if a company has something that it offers to assess some skills, you should mention if you have passed that skill or the competition, right? So that's
Yes.
okay. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Pratik. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. So now we'll be looking on to the technical skills. I'm assuming most of you are IIITA students. I guess all of you are IIITA students, and you'll be applying for technical roles wherever you apply for. So this will be the most important part of your resumes. What to include in technical skills? You should definitely include the languages you know, and how you should, like, if you have written a hello world program in, let's say, Python, if you simply write it on your resume, it makes no sense. So whenever you write any technical skill on your resume, you should always also write how well you're acquainted with that skill, right? As you can see here, in front of C, there's written expert. So whoever resume is this, as soon as the recruiter sees it, he knows it for sure that this guy is expert in C and Python. They know that they don't have to depend on you for Python, because of course you can learn it later, but at the present moment you're not very expert in Python. As has been discussed previously also, the recruiters do look, like, there's automatic parsing of your resumes. So the recruiters do look for some buzzwords, like if you have AI or hash code, or if you have Codeforces, or if you're somewhere you have written 6 stars. So all these do help you in your resume shortlisting. So if you are good at a skill, if you know competitive coding, or if you have a very green GitHub account, or if you have made good contributions, or if you are a 6-star on CodeChef, anything you think is worth showcasing, it shows your talent. You should definitely mention it on your resume. And as I mentioned, while writing languages, you should write how proficient you are. But like, let's say you know 10 languages and you will write all of them, all the 10 of them in a single line with expert, intermediate, then it would make it then it would make your resume look a bit cluttered. So what you can do is you can make subsections like expert, and then you can write everything you're expert at. Intermediate, then you can write your intermediate. I mean, don't, as has been discussed, they'll only see your resume for 7 to 8 to 10 seconds, maximum 10 seconds, right? And you don't want them, like, if you are expert in, let's say, Java, and you have written it somewhere in the middle, and he doesn't see that, yes, he's proficient in Java, it makes no sense, right? If you lose your resume screening, you lose the job. So make sure you write it in such a way that it's easy to read by you, and do include buzzwords so that it gets shortlisted if there's any automatic bot that is being used. Also, make sure I've seen some people who have written IDEs on their resume, like people write Android Studio, people like VS Code, right? So please I don't think it's required writing IDEs. You can write that I'm expert in mobile development, I'm expert in backend, and I know these many languages, I'm expert in these languages. But writing tools, I don't think that is something that needs to be done. Okay,
Yes,
so
and many times we apply off-campus jobs for a particular role, right? So it's better, right? You can include the role in below your name when you are applying, like a Java developer or maybe a mobile developer. So that will be beneficial. Regarding languages, I would say try to, if you have many like experience in many languages, you can include different type of languages. Like if you include C++, then don't try to include other object oriented. You can include some JavaScript, which is not strongly typed. So basically try to diversify the sections on your resume such that the recruiter understands that you don't have any difficulty in learning new things. Okay, that will make you a better chance for you to get selected.
I think we can jump on to the next slide. Does any of you want to say something? Okay. So let's jump to work experience. This is another important part of your resume. Work experience, whenever you write something in your work experience, make sure that you write it in objective terms, right? You quantify what you have done. Like, as you can see in this example in the second line, they have written that accomplished X by implementing Y, which led to, let's say, 1.5% increase or 1.2% increase, or it grew the user base by 10%, or it reduced the downtime by 1% or anything, right? Try to quantify everything you have written. This way, the recruiter knows for sure that what's your caliber, how well you can work, and what you have achieved. Right? If you write that I worked on some React Native project and I used this language, or I worked on Android project and I used Kotlin. So that doesn't give a good idea about you to the recruiter, because that might be a very simple project. That might be, let's say, a video hosting platform, or that, I mean, you have to write what you have accomplished and you have to quantify it. Moving on to the next point. Whenever you write a group project, like, make sure that you write that if you know everything, if you can explain everything, well and good. But if you only know a part of that project, make sure that you write that I have worked on this specific part. This is because you have written that project on your resume, and let's say the recruiter asks you some questions from some part that you do not know. And now when you will tell him that I have not worked on that project, that leaves a very bad impression, right? You only write things that will work in your way, right? Moving on, you should always, as I have said, you should quantify things. So you should write stuff like how many downloads your app has, or if you are counting the visitors on your website, you should write the number of visitors on your website. One thing that I wanted to write is, yes, so I think I'm missing this in the slide. Okay, one thing that I want to tell you is, if let's say you write a project and that is your STEM project, like you worked on that project in a 5th semester, 6th semester, do not write that it is your STEM project. Because if you do not write it is a STEM project, if you do not write it is your STEM project, that it means that you are inclined towards technology and you learn things on your own. So I guess that's it for this slide. Let's move on to the next one.
Could you please repeat your last point?
Okay, sure.
That project one, it will be repeated in this slide because that was from this slide itself. Okay.
Okay, so Abhishek, do you want to continue?
Well,
okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, yes. So coming on to the projects, let's say that you have worked, I'm explaining my previous point. Let's say that you have worked on a project and that was a semester project. You implemented some XYZ thing and you have written it on your resume. Okay, that's cool. But do not write that it was your STEM project, right? Write the project because you have worked on it, you know whatever is there, but do not mention that if the project was a STEM project, because this way the recruiter knows that you are inclined towards technology and you are willing to take a step forward and willing to learn new things, experiment with new things, and you didn't do that project only because of it, only because it was your STEM project, right? So that's one thing. Now, I personally get many questions: what projects to include, how many projects to include. should I do an app? Should I learn a website? Or what should I write in the project section? I don't have any projects. I'm a competitive programmer. Answering all those questions. When you mention how many projects you need to mention, you need to mention 2 to 4 projects. So when you write the project section, if you have like say 10 projects, you have to choose the best 4 or the best 3 projects, and then you can maybe write alongside projects, you can write in brackets selected, or you can write selected projects. So mention your top projects, top 3 or 4 projects, and what you should, let's say you have written the name of that project, then under that you should also describe what the project is about, what all technologies you have used, which language did you work on, and if the project is live or if it's a mobile app, you should also mention the Play Store link or the live link. And as it's given here also, if the project is team project, then you should mention your contribution, because I've told you why. Always make sure that if it's a team project, either you know everything, either you know the project inside out, or if you have worked on a part of that project, mention what you have worked on. Second, again, the last point has also been discussed, that if it's a SEM project, do not write that it's a SEM project. Yes, that's it. I guess this slide is over. Would anyone
I would like
to add
to
anything?
include something, like you can include the project just for selecting which projects to include in your resume. You can ask questions from yourself. Okay, what some questions can be asked if you don't know the very much details of the technology, right? For example, if you're making a front-end project, so the person can only ask you the questions on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and if he doesn't know that, then there's no point of adding such project. Okay, that is just for showcase, but basically if you add a project to your resume, that is because you are trying to get some time on the things which you know, rather than letting them ask you another DSA question which might be a bit trouble for you. So it's good you can include that project which have some questions which are independent of technology. For example, some backend project or maybe API you have created, that is recommended.
Okay, and I'd like to add one more thing. So few of you have asked me what questions should you expect from your project. So I'd say they won't directly look into your code at the moment of the interview. They might, but usually they don't. But you should know all the trade-offs of what technology you used, why specifically that technology, and let's say then they'll ask you what your project does, what is this feature, what is that feature, and let's say this is from my personal experience. So I told them that this branch, that this specific feature is used, affected these many users, and this is what this does. And then they asked me some questions why I choose this or all that. And after the questions, they jumped into the language which I coded the project on. So I used Java for my project. So then there were Java questions. Then the follow-up questions were Java, like how is the garbage management done in Java, or what is some specific OOM concept they asked me. So if you have written a JavaScript project, know that know in depth, know a little about JavaScript, how it works, it's not strongly typed, all that, and know that whatever feature you've implemented, why you've implemented in this way. And they might also ask you like, what possible optimizations can you do now? You should tell them that yes, whatever, just prepare it. So I can, let's say I might increase the number of API calls, or I might use a local database or something. You should also be prepared to answer any optimizations that they might ask.
Yes, and be prepared. You can also have your project discussion scripted. Like, just an example, if you are working on an ML project in which you have used linear regression, okay, and if you don't have any idea regarding logistic regression, you can know a bit about that, and you can just discuss the trade-offs, why I have used linear regression over logistic regression, and go on to the depth of the linear regression. Okay, that will make an impact that you know a wide variety of things, but so that gives a good impression.
Yeah, that's right. Bottom line, you have to be smart, right? Be smart what you're preparing for. Be smart what you have worked on. You all are triple ITA students. I know you are smart. Just just have a good state of mind and just think about all the possible consequences that discussion could go in and prepare all of them. And
Right.
no doubt that interview will be good.
Yeah, basically also in interview we like have our nerves all and we get nervous, so it's recommended you have a mock interview with your friends so you can get used to the environment, and also you have to give some interviews to get accustomed to it.
I'll just make this slide slightly longer, which is already long. Basically, for the students who are like, "Man, I don't have a project, single project," you don't, that is nothing to worry about. You can just go to YouTube, search for a project, simple project. You can implement that, learn about it, what it is, and have it in your resume. At least two is recommended. Some projects are included as communicated. You can include your some projects in that, of course, without explicitly mentioning. And you can prepare one or two projects. That also gives you a confidence, right? If there is a confidence in your voice, that will be communicated to the interviewer. But coming to a resume point of view, you should at least have two projects, which of course is a subjective baseline. We don't have like statistical, like if there are less than two projects, they will definitely not take you. But at least two projects is something that would be like good in the eyes of recruiter, right? So you can have a simple project even, but make it in quantity of two, I guess. Okay, shall we move on to the next one?
There's a question in the chat.
Hmm?
Can you see it? Shall I read it for you?
Oh,
okay. So if someone has asked that if I have done some specific project work and I know the whole project, but on the GitHub it shows my contribution, should I mention that I made the whole project, or should I just mention that I contributed that specific part?
We haven't encountered an interview where they go specifically into GitHub and check a contribution. That's it. So something using that as a reference is not like a good idea. If you know a specific part of the project, then you should mention specific part, because if the interview goes beyond that part and you are embarrassed in front of the interviewer, that's game over. Okay, so my recommendation, of course, a subjective recommendation would be try to first of all, enlarge your perspective on the project. If you have done a specific part, try to learn from the other members what they have done and try to include as large a portion as possible and mention that in your project, which you can explain so that you do not get like stumble upon them. Other people may have other opinions, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's what I would vouch for.
Yeah,
okay, let's move on to the next slide, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so
these are the examples. So these are the sources we have taken. Of course, we don't have a standard of resume, so we are not referring any standard. So these are the books and the people who we referred, and so you can. We will share the slides. Will you share the slides, Ritik?
Yes, we will send this slides on to the
So
mail.
you can go check the references itself. So,
Yeah.
that-
Also, if you can open the template.
I haven't linked the template, so we'll just explicitly link the template.
Okay. So basically, there are two templates which have a single column and second two columns. So personally, I would recommend one column since it's easier for the recruiter to go through all the details. But if you have more than details in your resume and it's not fitting in one column, you can opt for the two columns.
Yeah. So I think in saying this resume, first of all, it's not colored, which was one of the points there. The personal details, general details are mentioned minimally. It's not like they are including the whole address in there, like plot number and all that. Just to mention the city or something like that. The mail address is there, the phone number is there, the contact details. You can have a LinkedIn profile here, hyperlinked. You can have a GitHub if you are a developer. You can have Codeforces or other profiles if you are competitive coding person, right? Then you have the experience, which is generally low in our batchmates. Like we don't use it. Means we have, but in general, we don't have like much professional experiences. But if you have, you should mention it. And
Also, I mentioned the duration of your work experience, like when you
and
have worked on
what you
that.
did also would help.
Yeah, that's important.
Education, as mentioned before, 10, 12 KE, if you have like a very good performance in that, you can include and show off. But if you don't have, you have decent performance and you don't want to include, it's up to you. But you should include your college and other things.
one thing I'd like to add here. So whenever you mention like a work experience or education, you should always do it in decreasing order. Like the most recent one should be first, then whatever you have done before that, and whatever you have done before that.
Okay, then awards and recognition. So here you can basically achievements. So if there is a hackathon you have won, you should mention here. If you have a competition, general competition you have won, you should mention here. In competitive coding realm, you can have you can have a rank which you achieved in a global competition. You can mention that here, something that reflects your competency, right? And of course, academic excellence also. And mention. Then skills, what skills you have, like the languages, technologies, and other things. Um, project management, I don't think anybody has like. If you have, you can mention that. Projects, as we mentioned in detail, that was quite a long slide. You know, what you want to do. Other highlights, you can have other thing that is not in the other categories. You can have mentioned here. And then hobbies and interests. If you have space, you can of course go for it. It reflects your um, personal like view, I guess. Okay, coming to the second example. I'm going to take this one through.
Yeah, it's the same structure actually. With can have your important details at the top, then you can have your education, then experience. Besides experience, you can have the duration and point-wise details of what you have done in the internship or the work. Then scroll down. You have your projects. There is an option in a latex where you can include the URL for each and every word. Okay, so if you are writing lytics, then you can include that, make it a hyperlink and redirect it to the GitHub, so that if they want to check, they can check. Most of them don't check actually. Most of the time, the interviewer will not be asking you to share your code or go through your code. They will just see the points here and ask you questions on this, and will tell you will only tell you to describe your project by yourself. Okay, then lastly you can have the technical skills, and you can trade off between the sections which have to come first or last. I personally prefer technical skills to be on top, since we are applying for a technical job. And yes.
Okay, that's it for the, I guess, the PPT. We'll start the Q&A, I guess.
And yes, we will do share the PPT. Some of you have mentioned it. So yes, we'll definitely share this PPT with you.
Yes.
Also, one of the students just messaged me that he has some problems in English. He could not understand some parts of this workshop. So you can turn on your mic and you can ask any questions, and we'll be sure to help you out.
Anyone, if you can unmute your mic and ask the questions.
Sir, I want to ask that for projects, like I have done some of the team projects, like I have implemented some specific section of a project, and some other specific section is implemented by some other teammates. Like it's a complex project involving some AI ML also, but I have implemented that front end and back end part, databases related part. So if I include that project in resume, and if interviewer asks me about AI, then can I say that I have implemented this part only, and this is something of that sort?
Yes, Tejas, you can mention your own part and tell him you have worked on only front end and back end, and that will be good, because if he asks questions on something which you don't know, that gives a bad impression, and he will totally understand that you make a project in a group, so he'll be more focused on your part.
Yes, definitely. I would like to back Harchani here. You can definitely say that you have worked only a specific part, because, and like this is my personal experience. I was asked by one of the recruiters a specific part that I didn't work on. I told him that, sir, I know this project. I know what has been done here, and why we chose this, why we did. I knew the project, and I told him, but I didn't work on this. I worked on the app that is doing the API calls. So if there are any language questions, I can answer them with respect to the app. And he was happy after my response, I guess.
Anyone else has to ask something? They can also write it in chat.
Which email ID we should mention, the college one or our personal ID?
Actually, you should include your personal ID because college ID won't be active after your college. So I would recommend ki include your personal email.
Sir, for the coding competitions like Google Kickstart, etc., sometimes we get in confusion that we should go for our personal email ID and personal details, or with the college one. So in those contests, should we go with the personal ID or the college email ID?
See, this is a personal choice. Like there are some places where you have to include your college ID to get some extra benefits. For example, on GitHub, they provide you a pro pack with your college email. So in that you can include your college email. But if there are some competitions by Google where you are mentioning your college university name, then you can include your personal ID. Why? Because they usually have this database on their system, and the next time you participate, they know you have been participating from this time. Okay, so it's recommended to use your personal email.
There's a question in the chat. If we don't have experience, then we should be skipping the experience section.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, you can definitely skip the experience section, because when you don't have experience, writing bogus experiences makes no sense. Write your education section on the top, mention whatever you have done, and maybe on the project section below that. If you are a fresher, they don't really expect you to have experience, right? So yes, that you can skip the experience section.
Yes, making a resume on Overleaf or LaTeX is recommended, because in other sites they usually basically they don't have any free plan, and there are some sites like Nova Resume, they allow you to have one resume for free, but they are too fancy, and you can make a nice resume on Overleaf. So we would recommend to go with that one. Also for resume review, like you can send us or maybe even your batchmates, so that they can point out if something is not correct, or maybe something can be more appropriate. So you can make your resume review by your friends or maybe seniors.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hello,
Hi,
sir.
Siddhant.
Hello, sir. Sir, if I'm regularly like active on a freelancing site, then should I mention it in work experience or leave it? Means it can be included in work experience or not?
Yes, it can be included. Basically, we usually have something like, if you are working on a registered company, you can mention it on your work experience. But if you are doing a freelancing project, then you can also
So like
include.
if I'm doing it on a popular site, like if I'm currently also doing, then can I include it in work experience? Like not for a particular company, if I'm active on a site.
I guess you can include that.
Cool.
Okay.
Sanskar has asked, how do we fill a full page? Pratik, you want to answer this? This is a very genuine question.
So yeah, I personally think that you don't have to fill a full page. Would anybody like to add your ideas here, opinions?
I think if you are not getting a full page, basically maybe it's a lack of projects. So we still have time. Okay, you can work on a project for like a week, and you can make a good project that will fill some part of your pages.
Yes, if
Where,
it's possible, definitely do it.
yeah. Will every interviewer ask about our projects? It actually depends on the company to company, Subhash.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared about
Yes,
your project. You should always
because
be prepared about your projects.
yeah, as I told you, it puts less weight on your problem solving if you are having some experience or some projects mentioned in your resume. So we highly recommend that you mention projects in your resume. Anirudh, the internship work is better to be in work experience rather than projects. Matlab, if you include same thing twice in your resume, it's of no need. So if you want to have,
If there is a differentiating factor, you can include it. Like if you want to mention something under the work experience other than the project, then you can have like different, but don't make any redundancy at all. Like you should have
yeah,
spelling mistakes and redundancy in the resume because it's one page structure. Should be as efficient as possible, right? And what Kickstart rank is this question answered? What Kickstart rank is considered good enough for mentioning in resume? Or the
No, I don't think we are the right people.
I
We'll definitely forward the answer to you. That is
yeah.
something I'll have to ask. Yeah.
Kickstart
So you
rank?
can think in terms of percentile. If you are on top 1% people, like you can include that.
Sorry, we are not the right person for this. But I'll definitely come back on that. I'll ask someone and I'll answer that.
If you have space, you can include it, right? It doesn't hurt, like if it's not very bad, right? So you can include it if it's not very bad and you have space, but try to make like if there is something more important than it, you can go for it rather than this. But because Kickstart is a good term, like if it is being passed, Kickstart is like a good term to be detected by the engines if they are using, like especially Google. So you can have it, but try to make space for more important stuff first than this. If the rank is not very, you can have an idea. You have an idea, right? It's not like you don't have an idea. If you are in the top or not. If you are in top, you should definitely mention it. If you are in the middle around, you have space, you mention it. If it's in the low side, you shouldn't. Right. On basis resume is being
Nobody
shortlisted.
has this answer,
Yeah,
Yukta.
but yeah, there are two types. Basically, a human person or a machine. So machine will parse your resume. So it's important that the resume is parsable. It's not an image. So make it like the text is detectable from the resume. Then the second is if there is a person, then you should have like good styling so that the person it catches the eye of the person. On what basis? On what basis is a tough question because that
It's
depends
a
on the
very company dependent question. For example,
because
Google usually shortlist either top coders or shortlist GSockers.
which was not done in this year in the last
Yeah.
year. So that depends on year to year as well. So that's a question that is not like
Also, it
you give the
depends on
best.
whether the company is MNC or a startup. If
Yeah.
it's a
So you
startup, they
give
will usually shortlist their developers.
basically you give the best on of yourself on the resume and just hope that you get selected. Right? That is the best you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
always
highly
be on
luck
your top
dependent
game.
also, to be honest.
Definitely.
That's not it. You just try to be the best of you on the resume when you mention like the best things. That's the most you can do. And if you have an idea, if you get an idea about a company, you can have a specialized resume for the company, right? So that you have mentioned those things that are relevant to the company. That can be done if you have an idea. Otherwise, the general resume is good.
Bye.
Okay, Abhishek, would you like to add something about the language barrier some students face in the interviews?
So language barriers, I have an example of people like which were not proficient in English but going through the interview. But then there is like uh, that's not something that occurs always. You should have like a good speaking skill so that when you speak, the interviewer is genuinely impressed. The first impression is how you speak. The interviewers see how you speak and then maybe determine your work. But that's not generally the case. But that does help, right? It's not a false fact. If you have a good speaking skill, it will affect in a positive way in your interview. So try to develop a good communication skill. That would be like my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any other questions? There are some raised hands, guys. I saw. Okay, if anyone has a question, please come forward. Okay, I have a private comment. I am not sure if you can see it. Which companies besides Google have CV-based shortlisting before other rounds?
Manthan, do you know about some companies like that?
No, so at least for internship, it was only Google for us, right? So it is
Yes.
possible that when we apply for some company off campus, they do it, but I don't think many of them will do that. For now, it's only Google that we know of.
And off campus, it's definitely there. So if you apply off campus, you have to be on the top of your game.
But we don't recommend applying off campus initially, as you have been told by placement cell.
Yeah. Anything that conflicts with placement cell, the placement cell overrides, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
You're not conflicting with the placement cell.
Yes.
Whatever the placement cell says is fine, right?
Hmm. Or in generally, interview process is hard. It's harder than your actual software development job. So it's okay if you start failing in some interviews, but keep on preparing and your luck will do the thing. Anything else, Abhishek, Pratik?
Okay, let's wait for 2-3 more minutes if there are any questions.
Actually, if I can tell you about Google, Google has this interview process for, like, it's usually hard because they say कि false negatives are acceptable to them. If somebody is capable to, somebody deserves to work in Google, and if he gets rejected, then it's totally fine for them. But they don't want somebody who doesn't deserve and get passed through the interview process, right? And also, if you try to give interview don't get nervous about the questions, because if the question is harder for you, they will judge that accordingly. For example, if I talk about Google only, so they have this list of people who have been asked the same question, and they have certain bar. So according to that, they select whether uh, they judge people if he is able to tell the question in 30 minutes or 40 minutes, or what details he has used, or how many hints he have asked. So that works.
Duration of the interview, it's 40 to 45 minutes generally.
Yeah.
Super big questions. Like, is it necessary the project should include various domains like DBMS, or 2-3 projects from the same domain would also do? So, like, it's on you. Like, if you have different domains,
Try to diversify as much as possible. We have been recommended by our seniors to at least include one DBMS project in our resume, and it's also good if you see if you include only front-end projects or some projects of same field, then the interviewer won't be able to ask you much questions on that topic.
But if you don't have any choice, which
then it's okay.
shouldn't be the case, which shouldn't
Yeah.
be the case, you should try your utmost to diversify the project. I'm not encouraging in any way to have, choose the option of having a single technology and having different projects. But you can do that. It's not like hard and fast rule. Right? So, but try to diversify. That will be good.
We have a question from a COVID batch student. He says, "Ki, sir, is resume important for obtaining internship in second year?" Yes, usually all companies ask for your resume because that's something
Yeah,
they can.
like it shouldn't be like fancy, of course, in second year, but you should have a like it's a statement of your proficiency. So you will need that to submit it.
Subhash has asked for the duration of interview. It depends from company to company. Some company like Google do have hard limit. Like after 45 minutes, they will just disconnect the call, and while other companies will allow you to go on and approach the questions.
But yes, you should be prepared to, if you're doing lead coding, or if you're practicing, you should be prepared to come up with a solution in 40 minutes. You generally get less than 40 minutes, right? You should be prepared to come up with a solution and code it in 40 minutes.
Yes. So you can participate in contests for that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, actually, I made a big project a few years back, but as of the current technology, it is quite outdated. So, shall I include that project in my resume or shall I not include it?
I think you should, like, if the project is good overall, you can go with that. Because, like, can you like specifically mention the technology here?
I use actually PHP and MySQL, including JavaScript.
MySQL part is good because it's a WMS.
Yes. And PHP is still being used by Facebook people, so
Like,
we
yeah,
can't say
Facebook
that's
is-
outdated.
So
Yes, definitely. If it's one of your top 4 or top 3 projects, if you think it's one of the top 4 or top 3 projects, irrespective of the technology, you should mention it.
Yeah. Or maybe a rule of thumb, you can say, like, if you can talk about your project for more than 15 minutes, you can include it.
okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so there is a personal question. A question in the private chat. So
Pratik, I am not getting any personal questions.
I'm neither a very good coder nor a developer. So this reduces the chance of me being selected by a huge extent. Question mark.
Of course, it will, like, huge extent, I will not say, but of course, it would be a determining factor. You are not a good coder and not a good developer currently, right? So,
Yeah.
do you have time? And you can like quickly wrap up 2 projects. Means that is a work of week. You can just go to YouTube and try out simple projects, and you can first include that. Then, if you get an interest, you can have harder projects and then go that way. But you should start right now. And if you start coding right now, I don't think that I cannot say it as a developer, but you can have a good proficiency at that time because there is still time and you can cover it. So don't be worried like too much if you are not that currently, but you have time and you can do it. That simply you can do it if you practice. That's nothing you should worry about.
That's definitely what I wanted to answer. Many people message me, many juniors message me. They're not able to prepare for the internships. So, and like he has mentioned that he's not a good coder. So I'd say there is time. You can definitely work hard. You have around 2 months, I guess. In these 2 months, तुम ट्रिपल आईटीए में किस लिए आए थे? प्लेसमेंट्स के लिए आए थे ना? If that is the thing, मेहनत करो. क्यों, मतलब तुमको मेहनत करने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? बिल्कुल रगड़ के 2 महीने मेहनत करो, एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाओ, इंटरव्यू बिट खत्म कर दो, जीएफजी खत्म कर दो. 2 महीना is more than enough. If you work sincerely, I'll definitely, मैं कह सकता हूँ कि after 2 months you will land yourself an internship अगर तुम 2 महीने अच्छे से मेहनत करोगे. Okay, let's jump to the next question. I have another private question. I am an EC student. Have a DBMS and an OOM project. Is it sufficient or should I have a dev project too?
Nice question. Who would like to answer this one? what DBMS and a Noom project, right? Which must be like the same ones, I guess.
Okay,
If you
so
have, if you are good enough in coding, like if you don't have one, like if you are good enough coding and you have confidence on your skills, you can have one more project, I would say. But if you are not, then I think that's enough. If you know about, because honestly, the nobody like from my experience, what I have heard, there is no one like who expects you to be a very good developer, or say good developer also, because they come with the idea that they will train the persons and then do the take them for the internship. So you shouldn't be worried about having good developer or not. But if you have two projects and you are good in coding, then you can have another project under your belt. But if you are not like very proficient in coding, I think you should focus more on the coding part currently till you become one.
yeah, definitely make the best use of your time. You have 2 months. If you know that you are not good in coding, definitely work on your coding skills.
Yeah, because projects come after the coding round, right? They come to play. If you're not good in coding, you should honestly focus on the coding first, because that's the like first hurdle. Then come to the projects. Okay, so that's the priority, I would say currently. Some companies may be excluded, but overall, this is the structure.
Okay, so we'll wrap up in the next 4 minutes. If you have any questions, now's the time.
Is this question considered? How many projects should I add in resume to get internship in second year?
I think we
That's
have
not,
answered this.
I think two will be sufficient.
Two will be sufficient, and that's not a hard line. How many? Two is the minimum, I will say. Like,
Yeah.
may it be like a simple HTML page, but just fill it in.
Right. Also, you are in second year. Like, what else you can add? You know?
Yeah. So, like second year internship. Okay, that's good.
This is online now. People are getting it.
Online.
We have a comment from Shubham Jha. Okay, so guys, those who don't know, Abhishek is the topper of 2K18 batch, which is true. So take his recommendation seriously. That is
That has no correlation with like the dev.
Yes. And also like and subscribe Pratik Mishra's YouTube channel.
Lol.
Okay. I hope this session would have been useful for you guys. This is our last workshop we are taking in Triple ITA. Sadly, this is in online mode, but what else?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a personal question. Question on private chat. Sir, is Codeforces CodeChef necessary for coding round or GFG/LeetCode is enough? To that I would say इसके बारे में एक सेशन हम ऑलरेडी ले चुके हैं और वहाँ पे यही बताया था कि GFG and LeetCode is enough. जितना भी करोगे अच्छे से करना सब.
Around just for a time limit you can have experiences over courses like for the time limit.
हाँ यानी हफ्ते में एक कंटेस्ट देने में कोई बुराई तो नहीं है, तो दे दो, क्या ही दिक्कत.
Right. Also, I have this one personal chat first message, which is, sir, is it true that many students do not get internships? So, Pratik, do you want to answer this?
Okay. Is it true many students do not get the internships? Yes, it's true. Many students don't get the internships. But
it's also okay, right? It's not like end of the world. So it's fine.
Yes.
And generally, these are the students who are like, who are not serious, like too serious. But if you are serious, you will get that. That's nice.
Yes, if you have attending this workshop and if you are considering to build a great resume and preparing for the interviews, you will get internship.
Yeah, simple as that. You work, you get.
Right? Definitely. I have another question. I have okay knowledge in coding, but I have no project right now, as I'm an ECE student, so have no STEM project. What kind of project should I go for, and what technical concepts?
So on that, I will say web development is the easiest one to get into. Like you can just have a website ready in minutes. So I will suggest you to go to a simple front-end project and try it out. If you like it, you can go more advanced. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, so also good start can be something like you can search on YouTube for Instagram or Twitter clone projects.
Yeah.
So they are usually they usually contain everything, and it is a nice project to have, like a Twitter clone, for example. So you can actually use the YouTube tutorial for that, and you will also learn along the way. and if you think you have learned enough, then you can add it to the resume.
Yeah.
So there's another question, something regarding 6 month internships in 4th year.
अरे वो बहुत दूर की बात है,
वो हम लोग भी नहीं किए हैं.
हाँ, but the process is similar. थोड़ा tough होता है regarding the considering the 3 month and 2 month internship. उससे थोड़ा tough होता है, but the process is similar. Again, same concepts are asked, same DSAs are same. You have to mention a project. वो सब बिल्कुल similar होगा.
Right.
What is the probability of getting PPO? What is the probability of getting PPO? That depends from company to company. Some company. Yes. Yes, Manthan, go ahead.
हाँ, तो हमारा भी अब तक आया तो नहीं है पीपीओ, तो लेकिन जनरली लास्ट ईयर ट्रेंड्स 70% रहते हैं अराउंड, पर ऐसा कोई रूल नहीं है कि आएगा ही, हो सकता है किसी साल 30% है, किसी साल 80% है, पर मतलब ये अभी रेलेवेंट क्वेश्चन भी नहीं है.
I guess ये सब resume building से ज़्यादा relevant नहीं है. How
Okay.
difficult
We have a
is
question: how
it
difficult is to get off-campus interns in the event of not getting an on-campus? So Manthan, I think you can answer this. Manthan has this off-campus internship.
Yes, and we have definitely discussed this in the previous session.
तो इन शॉर्ट बता रहा हूँ, ऐसा तो ट्राई मत करना कि ऑफ कैंपस कर रहे हो. मैंने तो
Right, because relatively काफी easy रहता है on campus, right?
हाँ, Manthan was like a very good coder, right? Coder मतलब developer.
Developer and
he was like very good developer, so he can like
अरे
show it, but in general it is difficult to get off.
Let me answer. So
अच्छा,
you are going on the wrong direction. Yes.
अच्छा,
So it is comparatively difficult. So like it is not ideal to start looking for off-campus internships until I would say January, ideally, until you are sure that there are no more companies coming to the campus. Until that, it's like you can still try on campus, right? So why not get the easier one? Now, if let's say you are confident on your development skills a lot, and if you think you are inclined towards something and you want to do that, but that should not be the case for 99% for one of you. So if you are in that 1%, just in case, then you can start applying from August, but ideally don't do that. For most of you, go for the on-campus internships only. And in event of not getting an on-campus intern, I would say in our batch at least around 10 people got off-campus interns. Yes, Pratik, right? Around 10.
I mean, we cannot disclose that.
We cannot disclose that information.
Placement team.
Yes.
What? Cannot disclose that? Okay. So we cannot disclose that. So, but I already disclosed. Anyway, so I would say that it's relatively hard, right? So like if you compare that number, what I said, to the number of people who got on campus, it's relatively less. So in that sense, it is hard. But let's say you have some sort of a skill, then it is relatively easier for you.
Also, if you are applying off campus, you are competing with the students from all college, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, है ना? And if you have cracked JEE, then take some advantage and sit for on campus, because that's relatively easier. I have one question, a personal question from Manthan. Sir, currently I am in second sem, and did I need to prepare for internship interviews from tomorrow? If yes, then I am currently working on my GSOC project. Do I need to maintain both the things simultaneously?
So you are currently in your second year, right? Or you are completed your
second sem, I guess.
Yeah,
second sem. So I'll say focus on your GSOC project, and then after that maybe think of doing anything else.
There are actually seniors who have prepared for 1 month the DSA part on interview bit or maybe lead code, and then they have cracked the internship.
But I will say
so you can do.
Don't depend on
Yeah,
that.
that's not recommended, but I have seen people have done that. So there's another personal message. I have started coding recently and I do not have any projects. Should I focus on coding entirely as of now, or having projects is a must? Pratik?
Yes, I'd like to say that SEM project तो किया होगा, SEM project नहीं किया होगा तो at least do one basic project. कुछ भी है, 1-2 तो project normal होना ही चाहिए भाई. मतलब
But
CV बिल्कुल खाली थोड़ी अच्छा लगेगा.
Also, you are not doing coding for 24 hours a day, no? Like किसी ने पूरा दिन तो coding होती भी नहीं. तो in the meanwhile, you can work on your project.
simple ones, not very hard ones, but coding should
Yeah.
be like not forgotten, but
The only
that
thing you rely on.
so coding.
Okay, I have one more question. What level of project should be made like basic or intermediate, like Chrome extension? Whatever projects you make, mention the top 3 of your projects or top 4 of your projects. वो तुमको डिसाइड करना है कि कौन से तुम्हारे टॉप 4 है, बेसिक है, इंटरमीडिएट है, व्हाटएवर इट इज. इंटरमीडिएट लेवल चूज करो. अगर कर सकते हो तो इंटरमीडिएट वाले 4 या 2-3 मेंशन कर दो.
Yeah, and one advice, if you can always deploy the project, because it is like a good impression that you are actually deploying something. So I know some of my friends who gave the interview, and they were asked like, how can you deploy this, or have you deployed this? So like they are interested in knowing that if you know anything about how to deploy. Like it's not also not anything hard, like 30 minutes of work. So why not do that?
Okay, there's another question. If you don't get an on-campus intern, do I go off-campus intern or better prepare for placements, which is more favorable, as I'm an average student?
It actually depends on what kind of off-campus interns are you going on. So like if the off-campus intern company is something like which you will also like to get a PPO in, then why not, right? So it is just like getting an on-campus intern if you're okay with the PPO. But if you are not, let's say you are just doing the internship for the sake of internship, and then obviously you're going to reject the PPO, then it doesn't make sense, because
Definitely.
it will make more sense to prepare for the placements. Now if you are sure like if the company is good and you are like you're okay if you get the PPO, then it's okay.
Yes, all these questions have been answered in our previous sessions. Uska video link and PPT link and all the links I have also emailed to the 2019 batch. For the COVID, I have another question. For the COVID batch who are not getting the summer vacation, should we focus on development or coding in the first year? You should explore, you should do development, and you should also do coding.
Yeah, so अभी तुम्हारे पास तो बहुत समय है, तो फिर हर चीज एक्सप्लोर कर लो.
Okay, I think we should conclude this session now. Coffee time हो गया. Okay, so yes, we did this session, and this is probably our last session for the juniors and for you all. And whatever we have told you in this session, this is all subjective. So you
Yeah.
can always, there are no hard rules. You can always break any of these rules and do whatever works for you best. We just did this session because many of you had like, you were अभी थोड़ा तुम लोग डरे हुए हो. I don't know why, but तुम लोग, you are scared about the internship session, internship season, and this was done just to give you a head start in that direction. So now you have all the resources. Make a good resume, give 1 or 2 days to the resume, get it reviewed by your seniors, and yeah, that's it. Okay, I don't think anybody would like to add anything, so I'll just give the concluding remarks now. Does anyone want to add anything else?
No, just best of luck for the preparation.
Yeah, all the
what-
best.
Okay, so I'll just end this. देखो, from the questions जो लास्ट क्लास में क्वेश्चंस आए हैं, ऐसा लग रहा है कि तुम लोग बहुत ही डरे हुए हो इंटर्नशिप के लिए. मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है कि कोई बहुत ही बड़ी चीज होने वाली है और तुम लोग कि सर हम प्रोजेक्ट करें कि ये करें कि वो करें कि क्या करें. तो मतलब I want to tell that you are the top 1% of the country, right? If you are a triple ITA student, you are better than the 99% of the population, right? 99, you are better than 99% engineers, and that too you are from IT or EC or ITBI. ये कोई ऐसे बेकार के ब्रांचेस भी नहीं है. तो डेफिनेटली देखो, लास्ट ईयर देयर वर सम कंपनीज जो कि बहुत ही खुश होके गए थे ट्रिपल ITA से, बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ प्लैगरिज्म नहीं हुआ एंड बाकी दूसरे कॉलेज में बहुत सारा प्लैगरिज्म हुआ है. तो डेफिनेटली यू हैव अ वेरी गुड चांस, राइट? मेरे को लग रहा है कि ऑलमोस्ट सबकी इंटर्न लग सकती है. यू हैव 2 months में डेफिनेटली तुम अरे मतलब तुमको अभी काम ही क्या है, 2 months में दिन रात कोडिंग करो, दिन रात पूरा जो प्रोजेक्ट 2 प्रोजेक्ट बना लो, पूरा कोडिंग करो, बिल्कुल खत्म कर दो सारा सब्जेक्ट भी पढ़ लो, रिडल्स भी कर लो, बिल्कुल कंप्लीट करके सब रिवाइज वगैरह करके बिल्कुल परफेक्ट रेडी हो जाओ बिल्कुल इंटर्नशिप के लिए, राइट। एंड द प्लेसमेंट टीम इज डेफिनेटली वर्किंग हार्ड, दिन रात काम कर रहे हैं, सो दैट दे कैन गेट गुड गुड कंपनीज फॉर यू। एंड डेफिनेटली इतनी ज्यादा कंपनीज आएंगी, यू विल बी nobody will be disappointed, right? You will only be disappointed if you will not work hard, right? मैं चाहता हूँ कि जितने भी मेरे जूनियर्स हैं यहाँ पे हर एक का इंटर्न लगे, राइट? अभी 2 महीने में तुम आराम से अच्छे से मेहनत करो, यू आर बेटर देन 99% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन, टॉप 1% में आ रहे हो। और अगर इंटर्नशिप नहीं भी लगी तो तब भी तुम टॉप 1% वाले ही लोग हो, यू विल गेट गुड प्लेसमेंट डेफिनेटली। ओके, so with this
so
we'll
I'll add
conclude the
one
session.
thing which Abhishek just told me, it is not clear. So if you are going for off campus internships and अगर तुम जल्दी जाने का सोच रहे हो, तो अगर तुम्हारा सितंबर स्टार्ट या फिर अगस्त एंड में भी अगर इंटर्न लग जाती है ऑफ कैंपस, तो तुम ऑन कैंपस बैठ नहीं सकते, प्लेसमेंट टीम का रूल होता है। तो जैसे मेरे केस में मुझे अगस्त एंड के बाद बैठने नहीं मिला था। तो अगर तुम ऑफ कैंपस स्टार्टिंग में अप्लाई करने का सोच रहे हो और कोई भी कंपनी हो, फिर प्लेसमेंट टीम के हाथ में रहेगा तुम्हें बैठना है या नहीं बैठने देना है। तो ये ध्यान रखना कि तुम ऐसे कंपनी में अप्लाई करो अगर कर रहे हो जहाँ पे तुम सही में जाना चाहते हो, वरना फिलहाल के लिए तुम ऑन कैंपस जैसे प्लेसमेंट टीम करा रही है उस पर ही फोकस करो। तो वो ध्यान रखना ये चीज़, और प्लेसमेंट टीम से छुपाना मत अगर कुछ होता है तो, और जो भी है वैसे क्लियर रखना सर।
Okay, so I'm ending this. Lol, अच्छा